So for this video, we're going to be looking at the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups, I learned a lot from this card. It was a very positive card. It was something that made me think about a lot of situations in my life or in other people's lives that I thought gave me a lot of perspective. It gave me a different way of looking at it and really reflecting on it. So I really appreciated what I got from this card. I want to share it with you. I want to share what I got, and starting out with just looking at some of the things on the card. So on the card, we have cups in the front. We have a person walking up a mountain or up a hillside headed towards a mountain. We have some mountains in the background. We have a river. The person has on a red cloak or cape. They have a staff in their hand, and there is what looks like an eclipse in the background, or a combination of the moon and the sun in the background. And I want to talk about these things individually and kind of what they mean, what they could represent in different readings or just in your life in general, or the message that I get from this card. Of course, everyone's going to get different things. When they look at these cards, they're going to get pieces of different things depending on the situation, depending on the other cards around them. So every little bit counts, every little piece when it comes to tarot. You can add it to what you use when you do your readings. So the first thing I want to look at are the cups. And so the card that I want to use to talk about this is the 78 Tarot Elemental. And I really love this card because it shows the impact of what a situation can do. So this person is underwater, and if you look below them, you'll see that there are cups below them. Those cups look like they're made out of gold or some sort of precious metal. And the person has a choice. They could stay with those cups because those cups could provide support. They could provide wealth. They could provide stability, but the environment's not right. And they're going to drown and be smothered by that situation. So what I mean by that is you may have a goal and you won't be able to reach that goal if you're being held back by the security that you already have. And the person here is just going to drown if they do not swim up to the surface of the ocean. There's a lot of dangerous things down here at the bottom on this card, and it's just not gonna work out if they stay there. Now, when they swim and they end up on the surface of the ocean and they can breathe and they're in a much better place and they can see a totally different perspective, then it will be all worth it. They have elevated themselves, and I really feel like the water in this card represents those mountains in the background of the RWS card. And I say that because those mountains offer that same higher perspective. You're going up, you're elevating, you're rising, you're ascending in a sense. And you do have to get through a lot to ascend. So you have your truth, or what's true for you or what's right for you, up at the top, at the peak. And then you do have the opinions and the beliefs and the requirements of others down at the bottom. And so those cups could be different things. Those cups could be representing religion. They could be representing some sort of mental construct. They could be representing a friendship or relationship, something that is not going to benefit you or is going to hold you back because you're going to be really stuck. Just like you can see on this card how there are these, I don't know, it's like a tentacle or something, or a rope that's holding her leg. And you have to grow. And at this point in time, this person knows they need to grow. And the reason why they know that is because if you look at this card and you look at the person's cloak or cape, you can see that it's red. And red is a symbol of fire. It's a symbol of action. So they are committed to this. They know that this is the best thing for them because that illusion has been exposed. And that's why we have that eclipse up here at the top. It represents the seeing through the illusion, seeing through the fact that this isn't really the reality, because illusions are temporary. It's going to pass, right? And once you can see that, you actually know, and you know for certainty that you need to take this. And that's an important point, and I'll come back to that point in just a moment. The next card I want to look at is from the Science Tarot. And on the Science Tarot, it's really interesting that they picked a cocoon, because when you have a larva that forms a cocoon around itself, it goes through a transformation inside of that cocoon. And at some point, there's a lot of uncertainty because the cells have not differentiated yet and they don't have their specific roles. And at some point during that process, it is neither a moth or a larva. It is just a mixture of random cells that do not know their purpose. And a lot of times in life, we have to find that purpose, and we may have to get out of a situation in order to find that purpose. Now, this does come with a warning. And that warning is that person has a staff. The man has a staff. So it means that he planned this. He has some sort of support. He had some sort of system. He or she had some sort of system set up, and they had some goals in mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be, and it shouldn't be in most cases, a random event where you suddenly decide that you want to leave a situation. Because sometimes the things that are there are not the issue. The cups in this case are not the issue. They're not spilled cups. They're cups that are full. There are cups that are stable. And sometimes we need to really evaluate that and weigh the cost and the benefits. I love on the tarot of ceremonial magic how it says abandon success. And I think that's a good warning for this card, because sometimes we think that something is important. We think that we should take a step or a journey or a challenge, or maybe the situation that we're in is boring and we don't really find that there's any excitement in it, and we think that there's something better. What we needed was already there. It's a risk you have to take. And like I said, thinking it through, planning it, making sure you're ready and that you don't regret it is all a part of it. On the Thoth system, I really love the feeling of the Thoth card, because when you look at the system overall, you can look at the colors and you get a feel. And I get a super eerie feel from looking at the muted, dark, moody type of colors on this card. There's just something about it. And even the plants that are on here, they just look different. So this card is Saturn and Pisces. And that combination is a difficult one because Pisces is a water sign. So it's emotional, it's creative, it's softer. And Saturn is more of an authority and a structure and a disciplinary type of energy. And it is weighing down on the waters of Pisces, and it's making the waters stagnant. And that's what we call this card in the Thoth systems. It's water made stagnant. And it's just the heavy Saturn energy has made the water way too calm to the point where it can't flow. And so what happens here is Pisces basically is tortured by that authority. And we can see that on the Tarot of Stars Eternal, or Liber T. We can see Saturn in the back looking very strong, and Pisces here, these figures here representing Pisces being enslaved by it. And it just goes to show that in certain situations, we can't be ourselves. We can't be free. And that is a tough situation to be in. But we're better off when we go through that transformation. It's not easy. On the RWS card, he's going up a mountain, and he's going up this mountain, and mountains are rugged terrain. There's all kinds of, you're out in nature. You're going up, so it's a hard climb. They are colder at the top. There are all kinds of animals. I live up in the mountains. It can be a pretty rough existence if you don't know what you're doing. And so, but it's worth it. It's really worth it because it's so beautiful once you're up there, and once you have everything set up and you are used to it. It is a wonderful and beautiful type of thing just to be immersed in it. So the next thing I want to talk about is the element that I want to talk about here. And that element is platinum. So this is the card from the hexagonal elements, or elemental hexagons. And you'll see that number 78 represents platinum. That is corresponding to the Eight of Cups. And it really does look like the Eight of Cups. You have this figure here with a staff. You have these mountains in the background. And it says opener of ways. And it's true, we have to open those pathways. And the only way they're going to open is if we actually see past the illusions. We see past the things that are blocking our vision. And then we go with that once we know the direction that we need to go. And that eclipse on the RWS card is fascinating because when you look at the symbol for platinum, the actual alchemical symbol for platinum, I'll put it up here. It is the moon and the sun kind of connected, almost like an eclipse. And the reason why it's like that is because when platinum was discovered, it was very much overshadowed by silver and gold. In fact, they thought that platinum was a combination or a mixture, a blend of silver and gold. And they named it platinum, which means little silver. And it just kind of got overshadowed by it. Now, once we realized what it was and that illusion was broken, platinum took on some really important roles, and it was able to break free of that background position. And the other thing that is interesting is in the Tarot of Physics, the actual symbol that they put on the it's 8 of space on here. The actual symbol that they put on there is an eclipse. Super interesting. So I find that eclipse is showing up on a lot of different cards. And I think that that's the key to this card, is knowing that it doesn't serve you, knowing that it's time to move on, knowing that you're going to grow from this, knowing that it's a necessary step for your progression, for your progress. And it's well worth it. Like, platinum is very tough to isolate. It costs a lot of capital. It costs a lot of time. But the benefits of using platinum is used in a wide variety of things. Catalytic converters, jewelry, different types of medical instruments used to treat cancer. And that's because it is biologically compatible with our bodies. It's not going to interact or be attacked by our immune system. And so it can be in our bodies and it can remove something that is toxic. And sometimes removing the toxic things that are in our lives are important for us to be safe. Cancers will grow and they will spread unless you remove it. And on the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, I said I'd show one more card, but I'm going to show this one again. Even though it says abandon success right there, it also says in the book, it says plague among happiness, or the plague within happiness. And that is so interesting. And yeah, there can be this sort of plague around you that can be really a block to your happiness and just really hindering you. And you have to cut it out, just like the cancer that's cut out of your system. So I think that's all I wanted to mention for this card. And I think that there is a lot to think about, a lot to ponder. Like I said, there are many different perspectives on this card. You can take this card in different directions. You really can. And I'm glad that I was able to add my view of it. And hopefully it was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for your comments. Please comment below your thoughts. Always love to hear from you. And thank you for watching. My name is Will. This is Atypical Tarot, and I'll see you next time.